Hey, what's going on, everybody? Movie Phantom here. Of course, I am joined by my lovely girlfriend, Maya. And yes, we got another double feature for you today. Today, we are doing Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, and The House at the End of the Park. Boom, there you go. So let's go ahead, we'll head up the first one first. Anacondas, Hunt for the Blood Orchid, 2004, and it is the sequel to Anaconda. So the basic premise here is it's a pharmaceutical company going down to look for this blood orchid that is rumored to be able to expand your life. Doesn't necessarily make you immortal, but it will prolong death in a way. And I guess you take enough of it, you can, keep living forever. However, the expedition is hampered, if you will, by some giant-ass anacondas. All right, sweetie, what did you think about this movie?
I really didn't care for it.
Didn't care for it? Give us a review.
It was kind of long and boring.
Alrighty. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Nope. Alrighty. My girlfriend, everybody. Insightful as always. I remember when this first came out, I had no desire to see it. Now, I'm a huge fan of just giant snake movies. No matter how cheesy they are, whatever. So, but I never really, actively look for them. I like, the Anaconda movies and Python and Boa, and all the crossovers and whatnot. King Snake and all that bullshit. But I have, never really went out my way to, hunt these movies down. They come to me and I check them out and I'm good. So I just never went out to watch Anacondas. I thought the first one was really good. The fact that there was clearly nobody from the original in this one, I was just like, fuck it. Clearly the CGI just looked horrible. It just looked really bad. So I was just like, eh. Now, I know that sounds like a horrible excuse because literally every giant snake movie, especially the ones on Sci-Fi Channel, just have ridiculously bad CGI. But this is 2004 Phantom I'm talking right here. This ain't the Phantom you see in front of you today. This is, what I was going through then. So I was just like, no big deal. And I didn't watch it until, I don't know, I'd say 2010 or so? Did I just say 2010 Phantom here, not 2004? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, it's 2015. Phantom's getting his dates mixed up, everybody. But anyways, no, so, but literally, I didn't watch it until 2010 or so. And I'll tell you now, I actually like this movie. I think it is a solid, and I do mean solid, follow-up to the first one. There's no connection, really, except for one little line, which I'll get to that here in a little bit. The one thing I like about this movie is, it doesn't feel like, because typically with any sequel, and I don't care if it's, if it's an in-name only sequel, or if it's if you have all the established characters from the first one and come back for the second one, typically with sequels, you just jump right into the action. There's no build-up. And what's bad is when you got, especially with slashers, or, I guess most in-name only sequels where it's just basically, there's no character development. And typically you don't really want that, and I get that. Example of a movie that I hated that in was AVP2. I was like, fuck it, let's just kill these motherfuckers and get over with. But here, they don't do that. It does set up each of the characters. You actually kind of care for the characters, for certain ones anyways. And I like that. I really like the fact that, they were kind of building upon that. Give you people to root for, not just basically, serving up snake food, which is what they do in most giant snake movies. No, it reminded me of the first one, where it was okay, here's a group of people, but instead just, here they are, fucking fighting a snake. No, it's no, here they are, get to meet them, get to know them, and everything else like that. So I like that. I thought that was really cool. The second thing is, I like the story. I thought the story was very, kind of plausible. I know the whole blood orchid thing, not really, but I thought just it just didn't seem contrived, I guess. A lot of times it's just we're making a giant snake for military purposes. What's our plan? We're gonna go to Iraq and disrupt a giant snake, and then we're gonna blow. I can't whistle. Blow a whistle, and the snake's gonna come back and get back in the cage, and we're gonna go home. What? They do that every time. They literally create this giant snake in every one of these movies for military purposes, and it always breaks out and it always kills everybody. And you're like, well, what was your plan? What was you plan on doing with this giant snake? Because that's what they make it sound like. They're just we're going to drop it over there and it'll come back and jump back in his cage like a good little boy and we'll just go home. No, it doesn't work like that. So I like these, the more the, they're looking, at least they're looking for something. They're not really coming, They weren't like, experimenting. They weren't tinkering around in a lab somewhere. No. They were, looking for a flower and took the wrong path and boom. The other thing is, I don't know. Bad CGI, I know I said it is horrible, but there are certain scenes in here where you do see a snake and it don't look bad. It really doesn't. I don't know what to say about this movie. I mean, there ain't really... from what I'm saying I like about it, it is a pretty thin plot, though. I mean, once we get in there and once the snake comes out, it's killing time. Let's just eat them up and swallow them down type thing. You do kind of realize why the snakes are living so long. Is like somehow they are ingesting, and they never quite go into details like why these snakes are just eating plants. But they are somehow ingesting this blood orchid, which is why they're living for a long time, which is why they're getting bigger. So, I mean, the fact that it did feel like, they were adding on to the first one, which is what a sequel should do. A sequel should take, what you have and elevate it. Like I said, there was a little bit of a connection in one of the scenes when they're, like, trying to run through the wood or jungle or whatever. They're talking about, the one character, which I thought was the most annoying character in the whole fucking movie, Cole. He was like... my cousin knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who was a part of this film crew that, went into the jungle to do a documentary and was eaten by giant snakes. Of course, they are referencing the first movie right there. And once again, I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's just one of those little things. But I liked it. I mean, once again, it kind of keeps it all in the same universe. And I always, I appreciate that as a fan. Like, keep it all together. Yeah, Cole. I did not like the Cole character. In fact, the one character, because you had the, and I'm blanking on names right now, other than Cole's. Like I said, there are a lot of likable characters, and the guy who is the captain of the ship, I can't remember his name now for the life of me, but he had like that one like Asian. I'm gonna go still with Asian. I'm not sure what denomination, but anyways, he has Asian like sidekick there, and I really like that guy. Like, that guy was just really cool. He was kind of witty or whatnot. And the one thing I hated was like Cole was so annoying. I was just hoping he'd get killed just quickly. And of course, there's a scene where he's by himself and everything, and of course he's trapped. And you're like, well, listen, he's going to bite it here. And then, of course, the Asian guy comes back, and I'm like, no, Asian guy, don't do this, because that means you're going to get killed instead. And sure enough, Asian guy gets killed, and Cole makes it. And I'm like, fuck. But then at the end, toward the end, and I'm going to drop some spoilers, because this is past the 10-year mark, Cole's like, there's a scene where, like, one snake comes out. Because this time, instead, there's a whole fucking nest of them, because it's mating season. That's the other thing. There's one, like, female anaconda who's, like, I guess, sending out her vibes. So every fucking male anaconda that's just giant is coming to bang this one anaconda. And along the way, if they want to eat some shit, they're going to eat some shit. And anyways, there's a scene where, one anaconda's, like, the one that's chasing through this cave or whatever, they get out. And as it comes out, there's a girl with a machete next to it and chops its head off. And, of course, Cole's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah. And he gets snatched up from behind, right? And I'm like, yay, because he was just annoying. I didn't like his character at all. So he gets taken away, and they're like, no, we're going to save him. And at this point, he's been crushed. He's like, about to get devoured. And then they somehow just save him. Like, literally just like, he throws the knife at the anaconda's head, lets him go, and he lives. And I'm like, really? We killed the cool Asian guy and let this piece of shit live? That's what we did, and of course they survived. That's another thing I liked about it. It wasn't the typical, with sequels, usually it's more about body count when you're, when the killer, or in this case, the giant anacondas, are wiping out, our good guys. Typically you come down to like the last two, but in this one, like 4 people survive, and I like that, because I was just like, alright, I'm good, because like, I don't know, it felt like, if it was going to come down to 2, or even 1, you can always figure out who it is, but the fact that, like, the second girl makes it, I was like, oh, I figured she'd be dead. Somehow Cole makes it, but, whatever, but, yeah, I don't know, so I like that aspect of it. So, yeah, I recommend it if you have not seen it. If you're a fan of, like, giant snake movies, even if you're just a fan of the first one and just figured, like, it'd be worth, I'm not going to say it's as good as the first one. The first one's clearly just, I thought the first one was really good. This one's good though. I mean, this is like I said, this is a solid follow-up, and yeah, I would highly recommend it. So, anything else?
Nope.
I love the monkey. There's a monkey in it too, and a lot of the crappy like jump scares or like the fake scares, if you will. This monkey is the cause of it. And at first you're kind of like, huh, but then you're like, fucking monkey, like, dude.
Marcella.
Is that his name? Marcellus?
No.
Well.
It's Prince Monkey.
Oh. Really? You just make a Friends reference?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was his name, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was a cute little monkey right there. So there's a scene actually where I think the monkey bites it because the monkey jumps off the boat for a moment, and of course he's getting stalked by this anaconda. Which like, how's the anaconda like not get the monkey? But apparently he didn't. He outwitted him. So, and I will say one other thing. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place with this review here. One of the scenes I actually liked was there's a scene where because when they're trying to get to this blood orchard, there are big storms coming in. They can't find anybody to actually take them there on the boat. So they finally get the guy, the captain of the ship I mentioned before, which is awesome. Like he has this awesome deep voice. I didn't recognize him from anything else. Like I looked up his filmography. I didn't know anything else this guy's done, but I like to see more of him. Anyways, he's taking him on this thing. Of course, the river at this point is high. Like it's just, and of course he's like, we shouldn't go any further. The bad guy in the group kind of persuades him, take us, So there's two routes. They would lose time. They went the other route because if you lose time, this orchard is only in bloom for a certain amount of time. And of course, the clock is ticking. So they're like, all right, take us, down the dangerous route. Of course, the captain tells them, we shouldn't. But of course, the villainous character is like, listen, they don't need to know about it. Just take us. Well, what happens is they get taken down this wrong way, and the current pulls them down another area. And of course, it's just a waterfall. One of my favorite sequences in the movie. It don't look that bad. Like, it really doesn't look that bad at all. Clearly, probably CGI, but it don't look that bad. Like, it don't look like it's shitty CGI at all. So, and of course, that's just my favorite part. Because once the boat's destroyed when they go over the waterfall, now they're just like completely defenseless and whatever. And of course, there's a scene. Of course, it's in the trailer when they're all kind of walking. The anaconda is literally just swimming like in between them and everything. Which, granted, you're thinking like, why didn't the anaconda just snatch him up? Like realistically, the anaconda should just snatch him up. But for a visual effect of them just walking with this anaconda swimming, snaking its way through them, oh, it looks fucking awesome. So, all right, so that's that one. We'll move right on to House at the Edge of the Park, 1980s with David Hess, who we all know from another House movie, Last House on the Left. Basic premise here is this dude is which I'm going to assume he's a serial rapist. We don't really know if he is or isn't, but he does open the movie up with a rape/kill. And basically, they end up crashing a party full of these stuck-up, snobby people. And it turns into more, I guess it's like a house invasion, but they were invited kind of thing. So it's a variation on the house invasion, I guess you can say. Sweetie, House on the Edge of the Park, what'd you think?
I liked it.
You did or didn't?
I did.
You did? Surprisingly.
Yeah.
What'd you like about it? What was some...
I liked how the long blonde-haired guy, whatever his name is, he loosened a wire on purpose. Just to invite him so they could kill him. Mainly invite him to the party.
Oh, okay, yeah. The hell he set up and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is a movie I didn't know anything about. I just kind of went into it blindly. I had David Hess in it. I was like, I'm in. And apparently, I guess whenever Last House on the Left came out, because this happens all the time in horror, when a movie comes out and fucking, hits, not necessarily it didn't hit gold. I guess it wasn't like a huge financial success, but the formula was clearly there. The fans responded. They loved it. So then everybody was clearly going to make their house movie. And this Italian director decided to make his, and even got David Hess to do it. So as I'm watching this movie, I'm digging it because I love the look of it. It has like that New York, because it's in New York City, it has that grit look to it. That gritty, almost like a Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Just how it has this almost documentarian look to it, and I like that. So like I said, we got David Hess, and he has his friend, I forget the guy's name, a little punk rockin' looking dude. Kind of, you can tell he's a little slow. Eddie, was his name Eddie? I don't remember. Ricky. Was it Ricky?
Yeah. Okay,
I'll go with Ricky. They're about to head out, not, once again, Hess has already raped and killed one person. I don't know if Ricky knew about that or not, but anyway, they're going to go out and hit the town. Well, what happens is, this young couple shows up, and, like they're having car trouble. Well, they fix it, but then they invite them over to a party, right? Now, as the audience, we already know David Hess is, clearly a deranged, sadistic fuck. But the thing is, these other characters are not likable. Now, granted, there is a twist at the end of the movie. I wouldn't really say twist, more of a revelation, more than like, But either way, but we don't know that yet. So right now, just as an audience member, you're watching this, when they get back to this party, I'm using the term party loosely, is like 5 people all together, including now 7 now with the rapist and Ricky. None of these 5 are likable at all. They're all snooty, snobby, stuck-up fucking cunts. Bunch of preppy rich fucks. And they don't even try to hide that fact. Like at one point, like they're making fun of Ricky constantly. They're playing poker with him and cheating. So it's one of those movies where like at first you're like, it's hard to root for the rapist clearly because he's a rapist. But it's like, I don't know, you can't help it. But like you're just like, I hope these fuckers get theirs in the end because I don't know, like that's one thing I hate. Like I'm not trying to say I'm siding with rapists, over snobbery, but at the same time, this rapist seemed kind of cool, and these snobs are just a bunch of fucks. So it was really it was harder to really kind of, I guess, stay like because on the good side, because it was just like, well, I'm rooting for David Hess here because I don't really like these people at all either. It's one of those few times where I would root for the villain. I've never rooted for Michael Myers or Jason because I'm like, well, these kids seem somewhat alright. I mean, granted they had their flaws, but they're kids, That's what kids do. But no, these were just a bunch of rich fucks. And because every '80s movie has like that '80s rich asshole. William Zabka played that character quite a bit. It was like having a bunch of William Zabkas, pretty much. It was just having that rich blonde Karate Kid douchebag in 5 different roles. So I mean, you couldn't not help root against them and hope they each got raped, even the dudes. I was like, fucking rape them all. Who gives a shit? And that's pretty much what it is. Oddly enough, though, I guess it's it definitely falls into that Last House on the Left kind of rape revenge subgenre. It definitely seemed more erotica though, like almost like they were focusing more on the rapes as opposed to the actual story. Like it would literally do like 3 to 5 minute scenes of just erotica and then kind of go back to whatever the case was. So yeah, no, and one thing I'm not saying I definitely liked it. I mean, because it definitely got pretty brutal, pretty realistically. But the thing is, the other thing that helped it out was David Hess's performance. Like he actually is a really good actor. I don't think anybody kind of sees it shine through some of the roles he does. But like there's a scene, spoiler alert, because this was 1980. Ricky, gets shot at the end. He doesn't die, but we don't know that, so he's fucking fading away. And dude, like Hess breaks down in tears, and it's believable though. Like you're just like, holy shit. What happens is you find out that the girl that he raped and killed in the very beginning is actually one of the guys at the party's sister. And this was all a huge fucking setup to get this guy to show up at the party so they can kill him. Now, if that's the case, they really had the worst fucking plan ever. Like, I don't know how they would have figured out that he was the one that raped and killed. Like, how did they figure out that, this guy raped and killed their sister, but the police didn't? You know what I mean? Like, no one was around. So, like, somehow they picked up the clue, like, oh, this guy was the one that did it. I don't quite...
fingerprints.
But once again, why didn't the police figure it out then?
I don't know.
And these kids are rich, preppy snobs. They ain't doing fingerprint shit. No, bullshit. No. That's what the first, problem with the plan. But the same problem is they allow themselves to get kidnapped pretty much. Like they know this guy's dangerous. So it's like they allow him to get the upper hand on them completely throughout the entire movie. Like he could have literally killed any of them at any moment. That's your plan? Like we're going to wait for him to kind of slip up and try to break free or whatever. It's like, dude, like people's already been raped. Like you have already had people in your party raped now and humiliated. Good plan, And but the shitty thing is, it does work out at the end. Like somehow, it just dumb luck. It works out. They end up shooting him several times, including once in the dick, and he goes right into the water. And then boom, they kill him. And then of course at the end, they will call up the police and have them come by and pick up the guy. And once again, I mean, maybe if I rewatch it again, knowing now that Hess was actually the first victim was in fact connected to this group of kids. Maybe I would be like, all right, I'm definitely rooting for the kids now. But I'm just saying that first time you watch this movie, the very first time, you're not rooting for these kids at all. They're just all stuck-up, snobby little punks. So, but yeah, no, overall movie, big thumbs up. I thought it looked great. The soundtrack was, it had this jazzy kind of soundtrack, which I really dug. I thought that's kind of cool. Yeah, and like I said, just overall, boom. Well, good performances, especially from Hess. I can't really say for the rest of them. I mean, it it's, I don't know, wasn't that great from the rest of them. It was just kind of, but Hess definitely knocks it out of the park. So, anything else to add, sweetie?
Nope.
All right, well, there you go. Anacondas, Hunt for the Blood Orchid, thumbs up. She says thumbs down. House at the Edge of the Park, thumbs up. She says thumbs down. House at the Edge of the Park has several other names.
I said thumbs up.
Oh, you said thumbs. I'm sorry. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. But no, it has several other names. I don't remember them now, but that's the version I saw. In fact, it's on YouTube actually, uncut, like literally titties and everything. So there's several versions of it. In fact, the first version we watched was still in Italian, and it didn't have subtitles. We finally found one that was in English, but it had like Spanish subtitles, I think, at the bottom or something. So it was kind of. It was a little distracting actually. My eyes kept wandering down to the words, but I couldn't make them out anyways. But yeah, so I didn't really take time to look through and see if there's. Like I said, when you type it in, there's several that pop up. But so far, all the ones that we watched were uncut. So check it out now before someone gets rid of it, because on YouTube, titties are a no-no. So there you guys go. On behalf of Maya, I am the Movie Phantom, and